Nicks and Bruises, we are back. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. I got my guy Sim in the
What's
building.
pop-
It was
what's
good,
popping
Sim.
with you, bro? I'm good. Late night,
Um,
early morning.
yes, yeah. You sent the text. You said you was up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I said, come on, let's do it. Let's talk Knicks a little
yeah,
bit.
word up.
Uh, couple things going around recently, past couple days. I seen the clip of Spike Lee on Jamil Hill's podcast.
Hmm.
She asked him about the Tom Thibodeau firing and how'd he feel about it. You know what I mean? He said he didn't like it. You know, he didn't like it at all. But he's like, the one thing you can't take away from Tom Thibodeau is those 5 years he was here, he rebuilt and turned the franchise around. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
I mean, he took it from. Let's be real. Even if Tom Thibodeau was here, the Knicks would be considered championship contenders going into this season. So you can literally say that he brought the Knicks from not making the playoffs to a championship contender. You know what I mean?
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, he did that in 5 years from not making the playoffs to a championship contender because, I mean, Mike Brown hasn't coached yet, and the Knicks are considered a championship contender. You know what I mean? And they're considered a championship contender off of the backs of um, going to the Eastern Conference Finals. And they're looking at the rest of the teams in the Eastern Conference. They're considered a championship contender. You know what I mean? And that's the work of Tom Thibodeau. There's no doubt about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
that's facts. He also
yeah,
said, the Knicks need a damn championship. It's been since '73.
yeah,
So
it's the
that was
truth.
gonna get us there.
Hopefully, this is the move to get us there. You know what I mean? I got Mike Brown's back 100%. I was a Thibodeau fan. I like Tom Thibodeau. You know what I mean? And everything he did for the team, but he's gone now. So, I'm riding with Mike Brown. You know,
For sure.
uh, he wasn't the fancy pick. He wasn't you know, the savant that people were hoping for, but he just might be the right guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Speaking of, right guy or right girl, you know what I mean? And the Knicks making their coaching decision. Donna Stanley, she
Yeah.
I just seen a clip of her on where was she on? Oh, whose podcast was that?
I forgot whose
I forget.
podcast it was, but the headline
They asked her. Oh, it was Candace Parker.
was it? I'm not sure. I just
I,
saw the headline.
I'm pretty sure it's Candace Parker. Um, so yeah, they asked her how real it was interviewing for the next job, you know,
Hmm.
and she came out and said, her process was just like everyone else's. You know what I mean? She thought she had a great interview.
Hmm.
Um, she said she would have 100% taken the job if it was offered. She also talked about maybe losing the job by speaking out about the things that were going to come with them hiring a female coach. She asked were they ready to deal with those type of things of
Hmm.
hiring a female coach in New York. Um, a black female coach at that. She didn't say black, but I'm adding that in there. Um, just a couple of questions about her. I did like the fact that she got the interview. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
knew she had like a solid basketball background. You know what I
Yep. She
mean?
got
Coach
legit credentials.
coaching experience. She was a dog on the court. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Fiery personality. So I did like the fact that she got interviewed. But my question to you is, how would you have felt had she gotten the job?
I would have felt the same way that I felt if Johnny Bryant got the job. I think, you know, because of what Leon Rose said as far as bringing in a coach
The
that can win a
goal.
championship, right? What proof do we have that she can win a championship on an NBA level? You know what I mean? I wouldn't have had any problems with her coaching men. Um, basketball is basketball. Maybe coaching women, they're not as fast. They don't fly high and all of that stuff, but it's still basketball. And if you know basketball, you know basketball. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't have had a problem with that. Would other people have had a problem with that? Maybe. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But my problems would have been the same as, like I said, if they hired Coach Johnny Bryant. You know what I'm saying? Where's the proof that she can win on the NBA level?
One
You
one
know what I
could
mean?
one could argue.
Yeah, yeah.
No, pardon me. I was just gonna say one could argue she had more credentials than a Johnny Bryant, right? You know
More
what I
than the
mean?
college. And she's been a head coach and has taken on those duties of a head coach. So, she at least has that. And she played professional ball,
Hmm.
right? So she at least would have had that as far as more credentials than Johnny Bryant.
But to your point, I agree. The Knicks really couldn't take a chance on any first time NBA head coach, right? In this current situation, with the comments that
Right,
they made,
right,
you had to lean on some type of credentials, some type of experience, some type of I mean, like you talk about Mike Brown, he's coached star personalities on multiple teams, you know what I mean? Like he's won championships at championships as an assistant, you know what I mean? He's gotten to the finals, uh he's kind of been through every different aspect that you could talk about when it comes to experience.
right, right. You know, that being said, I've coached against a lot of female coaches and they're super sharp. You know what I mean? Like they study the game, they know the game, because they don't have the same athleticism as men. They've got to have a good knowledge of the basketball game in order to play at a very high level. So that translates to coaching. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, I have no doubt in my mind that she'd be a good coach in the NBA. I mean, it may take some time for her to just, learn the NBA game, the NBA personalities, going from college, like any college coach, going from college to the NBA, it's just a difference in personalities because, you're going from one where people aren't getting paid like from their ball clubs to now where the players are getting paid more than the coaches. You know what I mean? So, that transition she would have had to make, but she'll be if she ever gets if she ever becomes a coach in the NBA, she'll be a good NBA coach, I think. There's so many people that are worried about if the players will respect her because she's a woman. I think times have changed in that regard a little bit. I'm sure there'll be some players who, don't hold that respect, but I think most players would hold that respect and give her the respect that she deserves. I mean, a good number of the players that's in the NBA grew up without a dad and only the mom at home. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and her accolades as a ball player, and then
Mhm.
going into the college rankings as a coach, I think those speak for themselves. You know what I
Right.
mean? She was in the finals, right, in the NCAA,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I don't think she lost, but I think she was
Yeah.
in the finals. Um, my only thought was if you're looking at a female coach, why didn't we hear about Becky Hammond? You know what I mean? Who's
Something's going on
has
with
that?
her. I don't know what it is, but there's something, something's going on with her, I guess, where She's
Like
not
some
getting. She was.
controversy.
I don't know if there's something internal within the league, but to me, it seems like she went from being someone who was going to be considered the next coach. She
Mm-hmm.
was she was hot, and people thought it did to nothing. You know what I'm saying? Now she's doing like podcasts and whatnot. So I don't know. She I
That's
don't know if she's
interesting.
coaching somewhere. I don't know if she's coaching somewhere or not. She may be. I'm not sure. But it's like it just at the drop of a dime, her name was no longer mentioned in the NBA as a hot upcoming coach.
And we're talking about somebody who comes from the Popovich tree, right? Where we see
Comes from
how highly respected and highly recruited
mhm,
these people are who come up under Pop. So yeah, that is interesting.
right.
But that struck me as like, man, why we didn't hear her name before Dawn? No, you know what I mean? No disrespect to Dawn, but you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
shout out to the sister. But I'm like,
I mean,
Becky been out there and
no,
you know what I mean?
but Becky was an assistant coach. She coached summer league, but Dawn was a head coach. You know what I'm
That's a
saying?
fact.
She was a head coach of a major college program, which means, you know what I mean, you gotta take on a lot of those responsibilities. I mean, you got all these responsibilities you gotta take on. And of course, if you're in the NBA, you're gonna have similar type of um responsibilities. So, maybe you look at Dawn and say, she's been for however long she was coaching in the college ranks. She's got that head coach experience at a high level too. You know what I'm saying? Winning championships. Being in the championship game. Being in championship games, winning championships. She's got that kind of experience where Becky Hammond didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Back to Dawn.
So
Wasn't her team in some type of little racial controversy? Didn't somebody say some racial things about some of the players on her team and she stood up for them? Was that
um,
her?
some, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not
Pretty
sure.
sure
I
it
know
was.
I just know she's a hell of a coach. You know what I'm saying? I don't see her having a problem. She's tough. You know what I mean? So I don't see
Hmm.
her having a problem gaining the respect of the players in the NBA. I don't see her having a problem. She's tough. She's probably heard it all. I mean, anything that any of these players could call her, she's heard it. It ain't gonna bother her. You know what I mean?
I mean,
And she'll probably, be like, "Oh, that's what you think? Okay." And hit them with some disciplinary action,
I was
whether
just
that
gonna
be in
say
the pocket or playing time. She ain't playing that.
she's not
She
gonna
ain't playing it.
hesitate to check them quick.
Nope, nope.
Shout out to the chat, Latoya. Otherwise, appreciate y'all checking in. Um,
That's what my experience I really like about women coaches. They don't play like men coaches tend to, base things on, sometimes base things on relationships and I understand where this guy is coming from, this and that, or this the star player, da, da, da. Women coaches are different. They don't they just they can be, oh, that's what you think? All right, you're not playing. And I don't care what anybody says. And we don't have enough of that in the NBA. Everything is based on politics.
backbone.
Everything is based
Yeah.
on, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And just from my experience, women coaches are tough. And when I've seen them coach male players, um, it's almost the same as when you have a male coaching female players, right?
Mhm.
Um, there's a different like the girls respond to the male a little bit differently just because of the male female dynamic. You know what I'm saying? They when the women coaches addressing them and saying whatever, they kind of feel like, maybe it's personal and, things like that. With the male, it's kind of like the father figure thing. And from what I've seen, when women coaches are coaching males, it's the same thing. Like these young men I've seen have like a lot of respect because it is a woman. You know what I'm saying? And they can deal with her disciplining them more than a male coach, just from my experience. You know what I'm saying? With male coaches, they kind of take like, man, he thinks he's da 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 da. Da. I could beat him in a fight anyway. You know what I'm saying? Whatever.
Exactly. They want to start getting a little bit more tough
Challenge it.
and
Exactly.
challenging. Yeah. And with a
Yeah.
woman, it's like automatically you're like, all right, I got to be a little bit more respectful anyway, or you know what I mean, or jump. So
Off
I'll be
jump.
able to
Yeah.
maybe take some criticism a little bit
Hmm.
easier. You know what I
You
mean?
know,
Maybe listen a little bit more, listen to the message and not the tone.
yeah, it's a dynamic that I don't think sports has. You know, as far as male coaches coaching female players, obviously we have, but female coaches coaching male players, I don't think it's been, I don't think we've tapped into it enough. But I think it could be successful.
Well, it's only
You know what I
it's
mean?
only gonna take. You know what they say? It's a copycat league, so it's really only gonna take one person to do it first and
Hmm.
spearhead it. I mean, and a little bit
Hmm.
of success, you know what I mean? A little bit of success will help, you know what I mean? Because if it flames out, you know what I mean, that might set it back for a couple years or whatever, as far as the next person trying it. But
Yeah,
give a woman a shot, let her get to the, get a team into the playoffs that hasn't been there for a while, or win a round where they haven't won a round for a while. And then
yeah.
people start following suit.
Otherwise, said Dawn would have benched everybody at some point. No bull. Like, and that's what I'm saying about lady coaches, man. They tough and don't care what nobody says. You know what I'm saying? And I think you need that in the NBA. You got if you can get rid of the politics. You know what I mean? I think you get best. You get the best out of your players, and that's what I
Facts.
think someone like Dawn would have done. Still, I still would have. It still would have been. You
Is
know,
she the right
um,
one?
is she the right one? For me, it would have been the same as if we hired Johnny Bryant. Um, you know, what do we have that she can win on the NBA level because she hasn't coached in the NBA? You know what I'm saying? It would have been that same criticism, but if she ever gets hired in the NBA, I think she'll do a great job, be a great coach.
Well,
You know,
shout out to her for just getting the interview. We know we know over the over the years, and even this year, there's people that have been head coaches that wanted interviews that, was
mhm,
seemingly throwing their name in the hat or in the ring, and
right?
nobody was giving them calls. So shout out to her for even getting the call.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, and
Uh,
hopefully, the door for her. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure she probably had a good interview, right? So hopefully, it opens the door for her to get more interviews.
for sure. Shout out to Earl Terrain. He said both you guys need to come on more. We working on it. You know what I mean? We both in a
It,
little bit of a
it is
transition period, but
transition.
you know what I mean? Yeah, we gonna be seeing you'll see some more pop-up shows like this, you know what I mean? Pop-up shows in the crib. You seen Sim popped up a couple weeks ago and vice versa. So you definitely be seeing more random ones and
It,
scheduled ones as well.
it'll get back stable as soon as all this transition period is over. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes life's and you gotta go and you gotta transition when you got to. You know what I mean? But
for
we
sure.
here though. We here.
Okay.
MSG
Um,
called me today to talk about tickets. I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but we'll see what's up.
yeah, it's gonna be a grip. You
It's
know
gonna be
they go up every year, man. Ooh,
it's gonna be a
it's sad.
championship year. It's gonna be a
It's gonna be worth it.
ain't no
It's gonna be worth it for sure.
yeah. What's next though?
We heard the update on Michael Beasley. I
Malik
don't know.
Beasley.
I don't, there I go saying Michael now. Yeah, Malik Beasley. Um, maybe he's not so much in the clear, 100% on these what do you call it? Investigation. Let's call it investigation, not allegations,
Right.
but he might still be being watched. I don't know what that means though. Does that mean he might be watched moving forward? Or does that mean they're still trying to go through the analytics of the previous things that
I
they
think
were
there's yeah,
investigating?
I think they know. I think basically it's like maybe they don't have enough evidence to continue a full on investigation on him, but somewhere along the line he's involved. So he ain't out the weeds yet. I think it's like that.
Mm. And maybe if they lock in on one person,
Right.
once one person gets confirmed and called in, and they
Hmm.
might start talking. They might start
Right.
talking.
You know,
Well, prayers out to the brother, man. Good luck. Hopefully,
that's what I'm
what I
saying.
mean.
Hopefully things
Hopefully,
come
you get cleared completely. And this ain't
right.
like because I want him on the Knicks. I'm just saying, hopefully you
Just as
get
a
cleared
person, man.
and then
Human
you keep your
being.
nose clean.
Right. You know what I mean? Get cleared. Hopefully he gets cleared and then takes on some financial courses to learn how to manage his money. You know what I mean? Manage your money, take care of your bills. You're making millions. He's made enough money already. He's made enough money for his family to be wealthy, to have generational wealth. He's made enough money to do that, but he, you know, didn't manage his money correctly. You know what I mean? And it, it's unfortunate.
We're gonna get into some more Knicks stuff, but I wanna talk about this situation just in the overall view. And number one, hopefully not just a wake up call for Beasley, but this is the wake up call for players in the league, right? We seen what happened to Michael Porter's brother, Jonte Porter. You know what I mean? He's done. Can't ever come back. Banned. You know what I mean? And you got a couple of other people that have been investigated. Actually, another guy that I'm gonna bring up. You know what I mean? Who might be on the buyout market, but I believe he was in an investigation as well. But hopefully this is a wake up call because the NBA is not playing. You know what I mean?
Right,
They've accepted the gambling part of like they're gambling. How you say it? They're partners in the gambling situation,
part of
right?
yeah, in the gambling business, right,
In the gambling business, they don't want to taint the game itself and the
right,
integrity itself. You know what I mean? I'm sure that was a big decision that they had to come to when they said, you know what, let's partner up. Let's accept that gambling is gonna be here no matter what. You know
right.
what I mean? Let's get a part of it. Let's partner up and but I'm sure they were aware of
Mhm,
the dangers of it. And they probably are way more in tune to what's going on than the players
mhm,
who are you know trying. They're not making more. You're not doubling your salary on these things. You know what I mean? You're not making multi millions of dollars. Why even play around with that? So hopefully
Right.
these people leave it alone.
Yeah. Hopefully, for some of it, it probably exacerbates something that's already in them. They may already have some kind of addictive trait, and then, with the gambling, it just comes out in gambling, for some people. Um, it's always going to be like that in sports. Someone's going to do it, right? Someone's going to gamble. Someone's going to bet on themselves and, uh, um, try to shave points or do whatever. It's always going to happen like that in professional sports as long as gambling exists. I think the NBA has been one of the most progressive leagues out there.
Mhm.
As far as the way that they try to push things forward, push things into the future. So I'm pretty sure they'll be, like you said, they're paying attention. Looking to see how many, what safeguards they can put in place. You're not going to be able to stop everybody from doing what they want to do. You know what I mean? But if you put enough things in place, the players obviously, with the players association, will make money off of gambling. You know what I mean? If the NBA is making money off of gambling, partnering with gambling platforms or whatever, then the players make money off of it as well. You know what I mean? So it's in everyone's benefit to not ruin it. You
And
know,
I know
and,
some of
and,
these
and I think
guys probably like they not paying attention to me. You know what I mean? I'm not a star
right,
like John
right,
St. Porter. You know what I mean? Like I'm barely playing. They not paying attention to my
right,
little prop bets. No, they watching
right.
you the most.
Watching.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's
they
that's
watch.
where the that's where the biggest trend of all right, this ain't normal. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like this ain't normal that so many people are betting on you. Like it's a bigger red flag for you than a superstar who is getting all types of bets every game.
right. You know, right. And because you got to protect the interest of the NBA, you got to protect the interest of the players, both the NBA and the Players Association. They're both going to come down hard on players, who dabble in this. You know what I mean? Because if you have a good, clean partnership with the gambling platforms, there's going to be money for everybody. So when somebody messes up, everybody's coming down on that person. Like, yo, what are you doing? You messing up everybody's money. You know what I mean? So yeah, they're not having it. They're not having it at all.
And not to mention the FBI.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? So
who love headlines. You know what I mean?
yeah,
They love putting a somebody famous name in the paper.
yeah,
Oh, all right, back to the Knicks, man. Couple of names has popped up, a couple of names have gotten erased.
mm,
We haven't really talked about Westbrook too much. And a
right.
lot of the videos that I've seen or reports that I've seen have mostly connected him to Sacramento and that's it. Like a lot of people are saying Sacramento or he's out the league. Um,
Mm,
which is crazy to me to think, you know what I mean? Like he because he, certain players you can tell they're gonna be out the league based off their attitude, based off of them not wanting to maybe take a step back or take a lesser role or just regress their career towards the end.
hmm
It don't seem like Westbrook has been that. You know what I mean? It seems like he kind of gracefully accepted his
Yeah,
decline in stature. You know
right,
what I mean?
right.
So I think that's kind of weird. Um, your thoughts on that, and then your thoughts on should the Knicks even have any interest? We heard about their interest early in the free agency. You know what I mean? I don't know if talks between the two maybe one or the other decided to maybe this is not the best fit for me. So your thoughts on Westbrook's fit on this team? If he could help, would you champion the move? And then just your thoughts on his, you know, him seemingly maybe being out of the league. Like we talk about guys like Shamit. If the Knicks didn't pick him up, he might be out the league. We talk about Campaign. If he wasn't on the Knicks, like he might be out the league. I would have never
Yeah,
thought Westbrook would be in that type of category
it's hard for me to see that
right
Westbrook.
now. Right now.
Right now, I don't see it. I don't see him being out the league. Um, it may be, that teams are okay. We know that there's this guy here in Westbrook. We'll fill out our team, and then we'll see what we can. We see what's going on with Westbrook. Could be something like that. Unless he's just being blackballed the way Melo was. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how towards the end of Melo's career, it's hard for him to find, you know what I mean, a team.
Mm-hmm.
And he could still ball with the best of them. You know,
But Melo was seemingly less accepting
that's true.
his decline from stardom.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the thing that has me like what did Westbrook do? This is a guy
Yeah.
that, you know what I mean? Before this is a guy that he's leaving it on the floor every night. He's giving you it may be a bonehead play, but you know what I mean? The effort is
Yeah.
there, even with the mistakes, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess what we don't know is what his locker room presence is like. You know what I'm saying? And I think if a player is one of your top players in the league, people are going to be able to deal with the any kind of locker room presence and all that kind of stuff. Um, if a player like that declines and that player hasn't won championships and things like that, um, and there's locker room issues, I think teams would be like, we find somebody else because we don't want the locker room issues. I'm not saying there is, but if there were,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? He's your regular player now. He's not this superstar. We can find that anywhere. So now, as far as him being on the Knicks, I feel like picking up Jordan Clarkson kind of, you know, pushed that to the wayside because people said that Beasley and Clarkson would duplicate players. I don't agree. I think they score in very different ways. I think Westbrook and Clarkson score very similarly. You know what I mean? Westbrook is more of a facilitator, unless at this point in his career he's willing to just be, hey, I'm gonna be a facilitator. And maybe I don't know. But I think his lack of shooting um,
See,
could be
I
a
liken
hindrance.
him to I don't think him and Clarkson would necessarily be a duplicate. I think he's, Josh Hart on steroids. You know what I mean? Like if again, I'm not advocating this, but if somehow like we lost Josh Hart in the
Hmm.
trade or something, I think he would bring in he would be replacing that type of production that we get from Josh Hart. Maybe better in some areas, maybe shaky in some areas, but I think you know what I mean, like, and it's not even just the triple doubles, but he pushes the pace, he pushes the floor. You know what I mean? He
Hmm.
he he
Yeah, he
can
brings
pass the
those
ball. You know what I mean? He does all that type of stuff, and you're gonna see some what are you doing plays from both of these
right,
guys.
right.
Every now and again. Um,
Yeah,
I think the duplicate would be him and Josh Hart more than him and
yeah.
Clarkston. Um,
I guess I was just speaking more scoring wise and their style of scoring. You know what I mean? Um, because like Josh Hart isn't really a half court scorer. Russell Westbrook can score in the half court. He can break his man down off the dribble, get to the cup. Josh Hart is a little bit more in the half court, slashing, to get his to the basket. Um, every once in a while, go off the dribble, but more slashing to get his or shooting the corner three. But then, of course, you know what he does in transition. I think I liken Westbrook to Jordan Clarkson because in the half court, you can give Westbrook the ball. He can break the defense down and go score, you know.
That's fair.
And you're not really putting Westbrook in the corner, because he's not a 3-point shooter or Clarkson really either. Clarkson is
Hmm.
probably better than Westbrook, though, shooting a three. Yeah.
And Westbrook is what, 6'4" also, right?
Yeah, like 6'4". Yeah.
Right in that same range of that I'm
Same
trying to
range.
get out of. You know what I mean? Like if we gonna ask somebody, let him be 6'6", you know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? All these combo guards out here in the league.
Oh, two guys. Let's start with the other guy that I'm hearing rumblings that he might be bought out. And I'm not necessarily like I thought about it for a second. Like I was like, he could handle the ball for sure. You know what I mean? Like he might be somebody that I would liken to Clarkston actually, and maybe be a duplicate. But Terry Rozier,
Oh,
Terry Rozier, Scary Terry,
oh,
um,
he doesn't he have something going on too right now?
and that he's another one. I'm like, that might be why might be getting bought out. You know what I mean? Like the rumblings might be getting a little bit louder with this whole gambling thing. And
Yeah,
so once I remembered that, I was like, oh, that might like again, they not playing with this gambling thing.
nah, they're not playing.
But I know a couple years ago he was somebody you was high on. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? As a microwave scorer off the bench,
yeah.
could start if if needed be in a couple
Mhm.
games or whatever the case. Um, and it seemed like hypothetically, like let's say both these guys, Beasley and Rozier, both knew they were being watched.
Right.
It seemed like Beasley thrived in his situation, and Terry Rozier seemed like he was playing with a lot on his mind.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
gambling allegations or investigations aside, how do you feel about him if he was available? And then obviously, I'm not messing around with this gambling thing. Like,
Yeah.
but gambling thing aside, what would your thoughts be on him?
Emma inside, would he fit with this team? I don't know. It's hard to say. He can't shoot the three though, and he can penetrate.
I-
You know what I mean? And he's tough. So he might
yeah,
fit with this team. He might fit with this team. Might be a good addition. Yeah.
you know, once a Nick, always a Nick. You know, this was my guy, Alec
Who?
Burks,
Oh, Alec Burks.
6'6".
Tom Thibodeau's guy, man. Tom Thibodeau's guy. I
Tom
mean,
Thibodeau's guy as well.
yeah, I take I would take Burks back. I would. You know what I'm saying? He's a guy that's willing to do everything. He's this guy who can play defense. You know what I mean? He can play in several different positions. I'd mess around with Alec Burks.
Yeah, man. You
Yeah.
know that's my guy, man. I wanted him back. Before he came back, I wanted him back before when they let him go the first time. Um,
Yeah.
and he's a pro. You know what I mean? Like that's what, like you said, like whatever's asked of him, You know what I mean? I'll wait my turn. You know what I mean? I'll play heavy minutes if you need me to,
Right.
but
He'll
I'll
do
sit
whatever you
down and like whatever you need. Consummate pro. Um,
yep.
get hot
Whatever.
and shoot lights out. Shout out to Spree. Our guy Spree. You know that was his guy too. He used to
Yep. He's
be
not
like, "He
afraid
look
of
like
playing
Michael
big three.
Jordan out there."
Yeah, he's not not afraid to show up in big moments. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Alec
I
Burks.
hope-
I'll take him back. There's been talks about Brogdon again. His name has been popping back up.
Right.
I think he's 6'5", right? He's a tall point guard. Definitely
Yeah,
can
6'4".
handle the
Be
ball.
a good fit. As a facilitator, can shoot the rock, heady player.
Probably not the defender he once was,
Right, that's true.
but probably still a plus defender.
Hmm.
Remember, his defense wasn't ever based off athleticism.
Right.
Wasn't, you know what I mean? It was always based off of just heady basketball knowledge,
Yep.
defense defender. You know what I mean? So I even if he lost a step, he didn't lose a step in his mind. You know what I mean? Like so, he still thinks the game,
Yeah.
and so I think I'm higher on him now that we're so deep into free agency and almost ready for the season. And it sounds bad, like almost everybody we name other than the gamblers, the people under investigation. I take the almost all these guys over Shamit, and it's not even like I just don't like Shamit or you know what I mean. Like another guy,
That's
Seth
true.
Curry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. I think Seth Curry would come in and do what we thought Shamit was gonna do.
It's gonna do. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Seth?
Yeah. I mean, I mean, he would be an end of the bench guy, probably. You know, unless he just came in and he was able to. I don't know. Unless he came in and he was really able to, light it up. But he'd probably be the 10th man coming in, coming in the game, much like Shamit was. You know,
Coming in as a specialist, though. You,
coming in.
you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
as
So
a
though that
yep.
being a 3-point specialist, I think that gives you even when you out the rotation, you could end up coming in at you know what I mean? Like you could be out the rotation, but you still got a chance to get in the game
Right,
because we might need a three at any, you know what I mean, at any particular point in time, end of the quarter,
right,
end of the first quarter, last possession. Oh, you might get a you know what I mean? You might just come in for 3 seconds just to just to be the specialist that you are. You know what
yeah,
I mean? And,
no,
and if you live in those moments, you get more moments. You know what I mean?
right,
I
yeah,
agree he'd be a back of the bench guy, but it seems like if it's not a shooter that the Knicks are targeting, then it's a facilitator.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And then
I mean,
if you could have the combination of both, that's great.
right, right. I don't know how many facilitators, legitimate, not legitimate facilitators, but high performing facilitators are out there. Right
I mean,
now.
I would put Brogdon in that category. I would put obviously Ben Simmons probably as the top of that category as facilitator.
Yeah,
Um, he brings a couple of other things, defense and size, multiple switchability defensively. Um,
yeah,
doesn't bring the shooting, obviously, but
right, right,
yeah. So it's give and take. You know, you're not gonna get somebody who checks every box, but like I was saying couple shows ago, you know, you want a guy who checks the most boxes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Anybody else you heard rumblings about, or that we didn't really talk about that you want to just throw out there quick before we jump out of here?
Nah, not really. I'm just kind of in wait and see mode, see what they're gonna do. You know what I mean? Um, Anybody that was impactful, I think was impactful. I think I talked about Ben Simmons. You know, most recently Beasley. Like real impact guys.
What would be your top three, um, as far as preference?
I mean, preference, Simmons, Beasley. I don't even know where the third would come. I guess maybe Westbrook. Just looking at impact. Malcolm Brogdon, maybe after Westbrook. You know,
Simmons is definitely number one for me. I don't know if it's just my own personal bias that I might put Burks at number three.
mm, okay.
um, I mean, I know he could light it up on any given night. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if he's a marksman, but he a good 3-point shooter.
Right.
Ain't afraid of the moment. You know what I mean? Like, he might have been our best closer of over the last like 8 years, minus Brunson. You
Right.
take Brunson out the equation, and you be like, yo, he might have been our best closer. You know what I mean? Like for a couple
Right.
of
Yeah.
seasons.
Yeah. For a couple of seasons, he might have been at
And
least
that
one.
was off the bench. You know what I mean? Like that was like
Right. Yeah.
for number two, uh I don't know if I would put Westbrook or Brogdon. Like I kind of go back and forth. I probably would put Brogdon over Westbrook.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against Westbrook. I like him.
Mm,
But Brogdon, he's kind of like quiet. You know what I mean? He's another one like in the Burks sense that he's gonna find his place. You know what I mean? Like
right. Right.
whatever you need me to do. You know what I mean? Pros pro type guy.
Right.
Westbrook, I love the fire, but sometimes you play with fire, you
Yeah.
get
For real.
burned. So, oh, that's all I got for this one, man. I thought it'd be a little quicker than this, but
It's
it's almost one. Oh, it's almost 2 in the morning.
2 in the morning.
Um,
I'm, shoot,
but
I'm about to knock out.
always a pleasure, man.
For
Sharing the
sure.
screen with you.
No, man.
Um, appreciate you. Shout out to the chat, the replay gang. Um, we'll be back
Earl,
soon.
giving us a lot of props in the chat. We appreciate you. For sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Keep tuning in, man. I appreciate you.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, we'll be back soon. Sim, you got something? When
Yeah.
the
Nah,
schedule open up
I don't,
again.
not yet. I don't have a complete schedule yet, but I will soon. Yeah.
Just make sure that notification bell's on. You'll know.
Yep.
You'll get
You'll
the
know
alert.
for sure. I'll probably
All
put
right,
out.
man.
I mean, obviously, when
Okay.
season starts, I'll be doing pregame and postgame. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying you wanted to see me fall asleep. See how they try to do me dirty. I'll be
That's
doing pregame
that's
and
Big
postgame.
Bubba, man. Big Bubba do that.
For real.
Shout
But
out
leading
to
up,
Isaiah.
yeah, but leading up to then, I'll have a schedule out soon. So I mean,
No
training
doubt,
camp
man.
corner. So you know what I mean?
Right around the corner.
Yeah.
But all right, man, we out of here until next time.
Yeah,
Yo, Blackest Time. Sim,
yeah,
appreciate you.
no
Chat,
doubt.
we out.
Peace.